Spring intel. Camps opening up all across the country. Now, I can't talk about your program if spring ball hasn't opened for you yet. So that's a nod to everyone saying that we're ignoring them. We're not ignoring your team. You may not be practicing yet. Miami is, because they can practice any time of year they want to. You know Carson Beck transferred there. Yes, yes, yes. All of you know that. He's had some personal life drama. It's not very serious. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't waste your time with it. But, you know, many people with social media accounts, you also know that. Here's what's important for you to know when it comes to football. He's not able to practice right now. Carson Beck transferred there from Georgia to Miami. He's not able to practice because he had surgery. So he's having to take the good old-fashioned mental reps right now, and I believe that means Emory Williams, Jesse, would be taking the first-team reps down there at quarterback. But that's not the primary concern right now. Yes, it is the primary concern whether Carson Beck's going to be okay. They think he will be. They think he'll be ready to start in week 1. Who's he throwing the ball to? Because Miami is trying to replace their top 6 pass catchers. So what we're paying attention to here is, who's it going to be? JoJo Trader and Nye Carr are 2 guys that just have to work out for them. Now, this is where Mario Cristobal's recruiting classes matter. So he's been there 3 years. Their first class is now a bunch of juniors. And, yeah, they've taken guys out of the portal, but this is really when the primary layer of their team is going to be guys they recruited. So now we really find out. I mean, Mario's reputation is that of a phenomenal recruiter. Well, it better be, because this is where these guys have to step up. So these 2, Trader and Carr, they have to step up. They're both top 100 guys from the 2024 cycle. So they're second-year guys. They were both top 100. Them along with Elijah Lofton at tight end. Speaking of myself here, I'm counting on them. And then some. Those are guys I need to step up at the top of their rooms, and then everything else works off of them. I'm also keeping a really close eye on their defensive progress, because they made changes at coordinator there, and they made staff changes, really, not just coordinator. The DBs specifically, they went to the portal to address that. And it's going to be tough getting feedback from Miami because, you know, on one hand, the DBs may have a great day, but then you may look and say, well, who did they go against in 11-on-11, good-on-good? Well, they went against Emory Williams. And look, all due respect, he's not slated to start for Miami. They're going to face better quarterbacks than that. How do we really know what they are? Well, you may not. I may not. They'll probably have a pretty good idea. It's early, so I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not handing out crowns yet. I'm just saying that's important for Miami. LSU, good breadth of feedback from LSU. I feel good about them. I feel good about LSU. I'm ready to say some irresponsible things about LSU. I'm ready to write some checks that team can't cash and then blame them and call them overrated, because that's the thing you do, right? You pick a team to win and they don't. You call them overrated. It's their fault, not your fault. High-level recruiting meshing with strategic aggression in the transfer portal. That feels like it's happening at LSU. It's early in spring. Yes, that's the caveat for all this. But when you look at several positions at LSU right now, for instance, the edge position, Jack Pyburn transferred in there from Florida. Patrick Payton transferred in there from FSU. You pair them up with guys like Gabriel Relaford, who was a 4-star guy in their 2024 class, and he's been the talk of camp, by the way. That's one example of the meshing of good recruiting with really aggressive must-have moves in the portal. What do we know about the portal? You think everyone's going to pan out, and in reality, less than half of them will. That's what the brief history of the portal has taught us. But we had case-by-case examples where teams just killed it in the portal. And they batted 1,000, and their entire portal class panned out. Well, I don't know if that's going to be LSU or not. I'm just saying I feel particularly good about LSU's plug-and-play types out of the portal. I'm not done. At corner, Jakeem Jackson from Florida. I think they fully expect him to lock down a starting spot. And then, you know, LSU's had trouble defending the pace, as Frank Broyles would say. You got to defend the pace. Yeah, they've had trouble there. So we don't stop. We don't stop at Jakeem Jackson, but that's a good thing to count on. But then I go other rooms. Offensive tackle. They're having to replace left tackle. They're having to replace right tackle. Well, you would think spring would be a great mystery. I don't think it is. I think Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, couple of 4-stars from the 2023 and 2024 class is. I think they've got those jobs not locked down, but I feel like writing their name in very, very solid pencil, maybe even light pen at this point. And then DJ Chester on the interior of the offensive line. I'm just telling you, like, I would have thought LSU's offensive line was going to be a bigger question in my mind at this point in spring than it is. And then you got to cross your fingers for health and cohesion and all that sort of thing. At tight end, they grabbed Bowers Sharp out of the portal, and then you add him with Tridez Green, who's a 4-star from their 2024 class. My point here with LSU is you look at a lot of different position rooms, and you look in there at the guys you're counting on to start. And case by case by case, over and over and over again, you see guys we recruited that are multiple years into the system now, and we're pairing them up with guys that we got out of the portal. That's the way you play this game. In the modern age, that's the way you do it. You count on your recruiting to be the bedrock, and then you go supplement via the portal. And it's early. It's late March. I know. You don't have to tell me that. But I feel pretty good about LSU. Not a ton of just glaring red question marks right now with them. Texas Tech in the Big 12, America's College Football Conference. Hey, quick timeout. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. Texas Tech, major size upgrades at offensive line and defensive line. This team will look totally different this year than they did last year because it is a totally different team. They went and grabbed 11 blue chippers out of the portal. I think they're very happy at tackle. Say that when you can say that, because not a lot of people are happy with their offensive tackle situation right now. But Howard Sampson from North Carolina, Will Jados from Miami of Ohio, I believe, but you can check me on that, looks pretty good. They're really big, especially by Big 12 standards. They're really big on the lines of scrimmage. And then in the secondary, they were 133rd in pass yards per game allowed last year. So they just went and added 5 DBs. Now, I'm going to go out there this week. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, well, we're deep in the show now. I'm going to go out there to Lubbock and watch them practice this week, get a good feel of this, and proceed to keep my mouth shut because that's the trade-off. You don't talk about watching closed practices. But pop the knuckle time. Really interested to see that secondary. And as good a feel as you can get a few practices into spring. Also, great facility enhancements in Lubbock, I'm told. We'll see. We'll see. Good job, Jesse. Good catch. So I would also like to talk to you about Wisconsin. There was a glitch in the notes I took. That's why we skipped over Wisconsin. Do you know what they did when Luke Fickell first got there? You remember they hired Phil Longo. And that raised some eyebrows. Phil Longo does not exactly run the kind of offense synonymous with vintage Wisconsin. We had Luke Fickell on the show. I remember this now. I'd forgotten all about this. So we had Luke Fickell on the show, and I said, how different do you plan on doing things from what vintage Wisconsin was? And he was all about it. He said it's going to look radically different. That's why we're here. We were brought in. The previous staff's out, and we're here because we need to do something different. We got to get with the modern age offensively, and it just didn't go good. It didn't go well at all. They never had the right quarterback up there. And so what did they have? Mordecai and then Tyler Van Dyke, and maybe that's the reason it didn't work out. Anyway, Longo's gone off to Sam Houston State now. And they brought in Jeff Grimes. And what does Wisconsin offense mean? What will it be? Will it end up being what it used to mean? I think there's probably a commitment to get back to that. I think they're high on Billy Edwards. They went to Maryland and got him in the transfer portal at quarterback. He's not going to be touted. He won't be on many preseason All-American lists. And by many, I mean he won't be on any preseason All-American list. That's okay, though. They feel like for what they want to do, Billy Edwards is fine. They took 18 transfers there, though. 7 of them were on the defensive line. That's a lot. Is there quality there? Quantity does not automatically equal quality. Yeah, that's the first time anyone's ever said that. Quote us on that. Quality does not always equal quantity. That was Josh Pate in 2025. Unbelievable quote. But that's what they're counting on. That's what they're counting on. So that's a little glimpse into spring intel there in Madison. I expect to hear a lot more from up there.